I will just spotlight for everyone. So for those of us who have just joined on the recording, we've just had a little chat. We've agreed that tonight we are going to deal with some of the energetic masses that we're kind of carrying around, largely as a result of the solar flares that have been happening that opened up and created the aurora on Friday evening and over the weekend. The theme of tonight's class is going to be quite a lot of twisting and releasing Agni, your inner fire. So getting rid of all that grotty energy. So we're going to start lying on our backs. For some of you, that may mean perhaps bending the knees just to give that little bit of extra support to the lower back. I also want to spend a moment talking about the hips. I know that that's an area that some of you find a little bit limiting. And in yoga, we work on the hips a lot. And sometimes it can feel as if you're kind of overdoing it a little bit. Consider when you are lying in your supine, relaxed position. If you feel tension in your lower back, if you feel any tension in the hip flexors, or if you feel any kind of sense of resistance in the inner thighs. So the first port of call is either to bend the knees, or if you're still feeling that little bit of grit and tiredness around the hips, draw the knees a little closer together and take the feet a little wider. So it's kind of as though you're allowing the knees to collapse inwards towards the centre of your body. For some people, that just creates a little bit better support. Now, I'm mindful about what we've spoken about before we've begun the session. So if you have room to do so, I'm going to suggest that you take your arms wide, that you rest the backs of your hands on the floor, that you allow the flats of the shoulder blades to release and relax into the mat. And I want you to imagine that you're drawing a line from the top of the head all the way down to the soles of the feet. And be very mindful that this line is the midpoint of your energy. It will feel as though your entire body is opening, releasing, widening from the center of your body. I'm going to ask you to take a moment to pay attention to what's going on in the right hand side of your body first. So just gently scan down the right side of your face, over that right shoulder, along the length of that right arm and into the hand. Notice the connection at the back of the rib cage on your right side. Allow yourself a little deeper release, the space between the armpit and the waist. Just check in with how the right hip feels. Trace the line of your right leg all the way down to the ankle. If you have your knees bent, you perhaps have the soles of your feet on the floor. Just notice how your right foot feels in connection with the earth. Give the toes of the right foot a little wiggle, the fingers of the right hand a little wiggle. And then just allow that side of your body to release and relax fully. Now bring your awareness to the left side. Again, we're tracing a line down the side of the face, perhaps noticing any tension in the jaw, softening the space at the back of the neck. Noticing that left shoulder. Becoming aware of the rhythm of your breath. And through your next exhalation, allowing that space along the length of your left arm all the way through to the fingertips, through the back of the left rib cage. Every out breath, just releasing a little more deeply into this side. Bring your awareness in and around the left hip. You might notice a slight imbalance in the hips here. There's no judgment, just an acknowledgement, just noticing the differences in your body. Traveling your awareness down through the left leg. Again into the sole of that left foot. Giving the toes of the left foot a little wiggle. The fingers of the left hand a little wiggle. Take a full deep breath in. Visualize your breath traveling from fingertip to fingertip across the front of your body. As you exhale, feel that release through the back of your body. The weight of your shoulder blades equally releasing into the earth. Maintain your awareness on the breath, noticing the belly rise on the inhale. Then as you exhale, again it feels like a release from the center of your body through the wide muscles that support your spine. With each deeper exhalation, sinking a little more deeply into the earth. It's not our intention here to come into full Shavasana mode. It's simply to signal to your body that it's time to switch off from fight or flight mode. To set an intention that the work of our practice this evening will be held gently, mindfully, giving you permission to release any tension that may have built in your body. And if need be, giving yourself an opportunity to let go. Now once more casually observe the sensations of your body as you scan your awareness from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. Noticing parts of the body that may feel warm, that may feel cold. Anywhere that you can perhaps feel a tingling sensation. Just notice, there's nothing to change. Just be aware. Now once more, wiggle all the toes, all the fingers. And those of you who've started with your legs extended, join us with the knees bent. And we'll just allow the knees to separate just enough to be hip width distance apart so they're no longer resting together. Those palms still turned up towards the ceiling. And in a really small movement, we're simply going to roll the knees to the right side, but we want to keep the back of the hips square to the floor. So we're not in a rush to get those thighs over to one side. We want to avoid lifting the left hip from the floor. It's a really gentle release. On an inhalation, visualize the breath traveling from the right hand to the left hand. On an exhalation, draw the tummy button in and roll the knees back to center. Inhale once more to widen. Exhale to soften the knees over to the left side. Again, just working with the breath here. Noticing where you feel the resistance on this side of the body. Perhaps a little more resistance around the hip. Maybe the lower back doesn't like this action. So don't let the knees go completely, just remain soft and release. Inhale this time from left hand to right hand. Start to exhale as you engage the core and roll the knees back again to center. Let's now step the knees a little wider. So we're positioning the feet to the edges of your mat. So we've got a clear gap between the knees. On the next exhalation, roll both knees to the right side. Now it might be that you can bring that left knee to track towards the floor. It might be that you have to stop halfway. Perhaps there's resistance around the hip or the lower back. Just going to hang out here with the breath. On the next exhalation, just casually drawing the head over the left arm. Inhaling again to widen through the chest, exhaling to release a little more deeply. Just let those legs become a tiny bit heavier. Inhale from fingertip to fingertip. Roll the knees through center. Exhale to drop the knees over to the left side and turn the gaze over the right arm. Notice again any sensations. If there's pinching, if there's deep resistance, take the weight off the knees, roll a little further to center. Then as you exhale, engage the core, roll the knees back again towards the middle. Now let's bring the soles of the feet together, which allows the knees to roll outwards. So we're creating a supine Baddha Konasana. Remember, we can always control the intensity around the hips, around the lower back. Taking the heels a little further away from the groin creates a little bit more control, a little bit less tension. Drawing the heels a little closer in allows for those inner thighs to just ease and release a little more deeply. Now we're going to change the hand position, bringing the hands into an interlock to rest the back of the head into the palms, almost like a basket. Widen the elbows. Again, this might not be comfortable to get the full weight of the arms to the floor. We just want to work a little bit more deeply into that space through the upper chest, into the shoulders. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, lead with the right elbow towards the right knee, but try to avoid lifting that elbow from the floor. So you're kind of sliding, keeping the left elbow connected, the right elbow connected. And for comfort, it might help to turn your gaze over the left elbow, just to bring your awareness more to that space at the left of the ribcage, the left of the waist. We often hold tension in this side of the pectoral muscles, the space between the armpit, side of the waist. Let's take a deep breath in to expand into this space. As you exhale, engage the core. Gently guide the head back to center, bringing the elbows level once more. Inhale to widen through the chest, relax the elbows back. Then as you exhale, slide the elbows so that we're gently bringing the side of the right side of the ribcage open. Turning the gaze over the right elbow. Breathing into that right side of the chest, opening into that tight underarm space there. As you exhale, engage the core. Bring the head back to center. Bring the elbows back to release and relax at shoulder height. Take a deep breath in through the nose. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in and slide the thighs towards one another. Replace the soles of the feet to the floor. On the next inhalation, just gently slide the hands from underneath the head. Replace them now either side of the hips. Draw the shoulder blades together. Push down into the soles of the feet. Inhale to lift the thighs. So that little bit of a lift shouldn't cause tension on the shoulders or on the neck. So work with the breath to get the weight a little further forward. Weight into the shins, into the thighs. Every inhalation becoming lighter. Expanding that positive energy into your protective shield that surrounds you. Pressing the shins forward. On an inhale, peeling the right heel from the floor, pushing the right ball of the foot into the mat, squeezing that right buttock. Transition through the change here. Bring the right heel to the floor, lift the left heel off. Create that little bit of tension in the left buttock. Someone's got their foot in the air. Then both heels to the floor. Nicola, just bring your foot down. We're in bridge pose and we're just walking through the soles of the feet. So we're lifting right heel, then left, working with a little bit of glute engagement. So that means clenching the buttocks a little bit. Now bring both heels from the floor, press into the balls of the feet, lift the thighs higher. Inhale, lift the arms overhead. If you can do it, let the back of the hands rest to the floor. Don't push this if it causes discomfort through the shoulders. It may be you need to widen the arms. As you exhale, gently bring the heels to the floor. As you inhale, visually widen through the chest. On the next exhalation, start at the space between the shoulder blades and start to roll down through the spine, vertebra by vertebra. It's not uncommon here to have a little resistance in the middle back. That kind of always wants to come down in a big lump. Try to do it little by little. Bring the lower back to the floor. I can feel a deeper opening now in that space at the side of the rib cage. It's quite an intense stretch. On the exhale, hug both knees in, bringing the hands onto the shins. Applying a little pressure here so that you're almost lifting the bottom from the floor, rolling the lower back to the mat. Keep the hands on top of the knees. We'll draw little circles with the knees, so this feels like we're stirring the tops of the thighs into the hip sockets. This is a very gentle action. Changing direction, taking those circles the opposite way. Bringing the knees back again to centre. Repeating that little drawing of the knees in towards the chest. Perhaps finding if you could create more curvature to bring the middle back into the floor. A little deeper release through the back of the sacrum. In fact, I'm going to give you a little stretch there in a minute. Let's cross the ankles over. It doesn't really matter which one's on top, just go with what's comfortable. Remove the hands from the tops of the knees. We've got that little gap where the knees are bent. If you just take your hands inside the knees, don't go outside your legs because it does make life a little bit harder. And you're going to take hold of the outside of the ankles. Keep your head on the floor, then on the out breath, draw the ankles a little closer towards the chest. So you're kind of creating a deeper stretch through the lower back, and particularly through that tight space at the top of the bottom is the only way I can explain it. Release that grip with your hands. Bring the ankles apart once more. This time, rather than hugging the knees to the chest, position the knees so that they are directly above the hips, and we'll bring the toes to point up towards the ceiling. So because we've created a little more room in the lower back and in that space across the sacrum, we can take the hands away. We can widen the arms once more, turning the palms up towards the ceiling. And again, we'll just work with the breath to relax the weight through the back of the body to the floor. to expand and widen through the chest, through the shoulders. Then bring your awareness to that exhalation, drawing the tummy button in. With every out breath, you can feel yourself engaging the core muscles. And the more proficient we become at this, we can start to define top, middle, and the bottom of the core muscles. So aim to work with the breath. Exhaling, drawing the tummy button in, rolling that space in the lower back a little deeper into the floor. Inhale one more time to widen through the chest. Exhale one last static contraction as you draw the tummy button in. An inhalation to make space. This time on the exhalation, roll both knees over to the right side. And again, same rules apply. If that right thigh feels comfortable resting on the floor, take it all the way over. If the lower back resists, if there's too much tightness at the side of the rib cage, then take your time and work with the breath. I always find the left shoulder just gently nudges off the floor when we come to this posture. So take a deep breath in. As you exhale, turn the head again over the left arm. Feel that left shoulder release a little more deeply into the floor. Let's become aware again of breathing into that left side of the rib cage. So we're expanding and widening here. Then as you exhale, engage the core. That core engagement is key to take the weight of your legs all the way through center. Exhale to ease to the opposite side. Inhale to bring your gaze over the right arm this time. Exhale to breathe that right shoulder to the floor. Working with the breath to release on the exhale, to expand into the space on the inhale. I love tuning into the differences between both sides. This side is giving us a more intense stretch through the right side of the chest. And for most of us, if we are right-handed, this tends to be an area that we protect, that we hold tight. So we're pausing here a little bit longer. Then as you exhale, engage the core, supporting the weight of the legs back through center. Then we'll repeat again with that little hug of the knees in towards the chest. Rather than letting the knees go, we'll just carry that through with a little figure of 8 motion. So we get that gentle massaging action over the back of the sacrum, into the lower back. Returning once more to center. Let's pop the right foot on the floor, keeping the left knee bent. Let's bring the left ankle to the side of the right thigh. So the right knee is bent, that left leg is coming up and over. Just relaxed here, taking a moment to perhaps roll that left knee in towards the nose. We don't want too much opening out in the inner thigh. My preference is to keep the hands by your side rather than be tempted to use them. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in, then lift the right foot from the floor. Inhale to guide the knee in, then exhale to squeeze that knee a little closer. So you're working with the breath to create space here. So with every exhalation, the intention is to just nudge that knee a little bit closer to deepen that stretch to the outside of the left hip, into the left buttock. You'll know where you need it. Just check in that you're not clenching the hands, the jaws relax. Then on the out breath, keep the core engagement as you sink that right foot back to the floor. Slide the arms back up to that T-shaped position so we're open through the heart space once more. We're just going to do a tiny adjustment now to make this next twist a little more comfortable. So push into the sole of the right foot. This leads you to lift the hips an inch or so from the floor. It's not a big movement. Then take the hips over to the left side. Then replace the sacrum back on the floor. So all you've done is you've taken your hips off center. On the out breath, bring that left knee all the way over the midline of the body. As that left knee tracks towards the floor, turn your gaze over the left arm. So your knees are falling to the right side, your gaze is taking you to the left side. You can feel that gentle twist, a stretch that begins under the armpit through the side of the rib cage, a gentle belly twist, a deeper opening and release around the side of the left hip and into the buttock. And if you feel that you want to take that sensation a little bit deeper, you can use the weight of the right hand, just gently place it to the side of the left thigh rather than on the knee joint. And as you exhale, apply a little bit of pressure to draw that left knee closer to the floor. When it starts to feel like a little bit of a tension or pulling in the lower back, then take the weight of the hand away. This is just to bring it deeper into those big gluteal muscles. Make sure we're keeping that left shoulder relaxed back and down. So we're feeling that stretch all the way from the side of the rib cage to the outside of the hip. Take a deep breath in. Release the hand from the thigh. Exhale to engage the core. Slowly draw the knees back to center. Remember that your hips are slightly off center. So when you take that left foot off the right thigh, pick the hips up, return to center again. Realign so hips and shoulders are in the same plane as the heels. Then lift the right foot up, bring that over onto the left thigh. Rolling the right knee in towards the nose. Again, we start easy and gently, lifting the left foot from the floor, squeezing the knee in, deepening around the side of the hip, into the buttock, working with the breath to tease that knee a little closer. So I often find that the first nudge, if you like, feels a little tight, and then the more I start to work with it, I think, gosh, there's actually an extra couple of inches in there I wouldn't have thought I had. So just keep nudging the knee closer. On the next out breath, release that left foot to the floor. And inhale to press into the sole of the left foot. We're simply skimming the hips over to the right again. So it's not a big movement. Back of the hips to the floor. As you exhale, bring the right knee to the left side. Turn your gaze over the right arm. And I would urge you not to be in a rush to bring your hand up and over. Again, repeating the point that those of us who are right-handed tend to be tighter along the whole length of the right side. So firstly, find that point of balance, equal weight through the back of the shoulders, a gentle release through that right hip. And then when you don't feel that your shoulder will peel from the floor, you can bring the left hand onto the thigh, exhaling to apply a little extra pressure, deepening that stretch. Always mindful of referring that stretch anywhere further than the outside of the hip. The lower back is not cool. So take the hand away if it causes any heat or burning. Visualize the breath traveling from the palm of your right hand to the outside of your right knee. As you exhale, feel that gentle release, everything heavy. On the next inhalation, move the hand. On the exhalation, engage the core. Use that left leg to help you bring the right knee back to center. Then unhook the right foot. Reset the hips. One more time with our bridge pose, pushing down into the soles of the feet, inhaling to lift the arms overhead. Nice and soft through the back of the neck, through the back of the shoulders. I don't know about anyone else, but this feels so much easier than the first time we did it. We've released tension through the chest, pressing the shins forward, lifting the thighs higher, opening into this space. Then as you exhale, again, trying to release the spine vertebra by vertebra. It's very tempting to let it all go at once. Replace the back of the hips to the floor. Then as you exhale, engage the core, hug both knees to the chest. And we're not going to rush this because we've been laid down since we started. So replace the feet to the mat. In your own time, roll to your side. We've been lying on our back for a while, so if you think you might feel dizzy, choose your left side. And then bring yourself up into a seated position. Oh, that feels good. I feel as if someone's just taken the whole of my lower back and just pulled it wider. So I'm going to suggest that we come into an all fours position now, because we're feeling quite juicy through the lower back. And it'd be nice to just explore how much room we've created here. So remember that we want the knees under the hips, we don't want them any wider than that. Wrists under the shoulders, elbows soft. I like personally to turn the toes under. It's probably to ward off the potential of cramp in the foot. Then as you exhale, draw the tummy button in and start to pull the lower back up towards the ceiling. At the same time, gently nod the chin towards the chest. So we're creating an arc that goes from the back of the neck all the way to the tailbone. It's not just an action in the upper back. As you inhale, if you choose, you can release to come onto the top of the feet. Inhale to bring the chest forward. For now, I'm just going to bring my gaze ahead. I'm not going to look up. Exhale, rolling a little bit more deeply into that cat stretch. So much easier after all that sacral release. Then inhale, bring the sternum forward. Your choice whether you want to draw the gaze a little higher. We don't want to refer anything to the neck. Exhale, draw the tummy button in, roll up through the spine, nod the chin under. On the next inhalation, rather than coming back into the cow pose, just relax yourself back into that comfortable all fours position. Drawing the tummy button in, widening through the collarbones, extending the right arm forward, repeating the twist action we've been doing all evening. So we want to be nice and long but soft in that right arm. Take the left arm under, bring the left ear, the left shoulder to the floor, and gently twist the side of the right ribcage up towards the ceiling. On an exhale, see if we can press the sit bones a little deeper towards the heels. It just creates a deeper stretch. Then inhale to push into the right palm. Take that left arm away. We're swinging it over to the opposite side. Exhaling into the release. Inhaling, opening into the left side of the ribcage. Exhaling, sitting back towards the heels again. Just pause here to enjoy that slightly deeper stretch. Then inhale, bring that right arm through, extending both arms forward. Keep those elbows lifted. Bring the ears between the upper arms, soften the elbows.
Push the sit bones back towards the heels. We will all make a different shape here. Work with where you need the stretch. Some of us need to feel this in the shoulders, some of us through the length of the arms. I love it at the side of the rib cage. And for an extra release, try tucking the tailbone under. Feel that deeper release into the lower back. Gently lower the elbows to the floor, slide the chest forward. We're simply going to bring the thighs to the mat, transitioning into a Sphinx pose. So it helps if the elbows are under the shoulders, but they're not further forward. I like to spread the fingertips so that I know I'm not putting tension into the palms. Inhale to draw the shoulder blades together and lift the sternum forward. As you exhale, turn the gaze over the right shoulder. Inhale to look ahead. Exhale to come over the left shoulder. Inhale again to look ahead. On the next exhalation, we're going to lower down, placing one palm on top of the other. It helps to turn the elbows out here, almost creating like a triangle shape, bringing the forehead to the back of the hands. Resting the weight of your head into the back of the hands. Relaxing the shoulders, make sure there's no tension to hold yourself up here. This is crocodile pose. I always notice in this pose that my heels have a habit of turning out. So just notice how you hold your feet. Let them relax at the ankles. Let the hips release. Focus on the breath. Deepening the inhalation once more. And directing the inhalation all the way to the belly. So on your next breath in, you'll feel the belly inflate and you slightly lift from the mat. On the exhalation, allow the belly to empty fully and feel the weight of your bones ease into the floor. Inhale, expanding and widening, lifting almost from the mat. Then exhaling, fully releasing. One more time. Inhaling. Exhaling fully. Then slide the hands out from underneath the forehead. Reposition the elbows either side of the chest. Push into the palms. Inhale to lift the chest. Extend the sternum forward. Keep those shoulders drawn back and down. On the next out breath, we'll keep the palms where they are as we gently bring the forehead towards the floor once more. Let's take a moment to curl the right heel in towards the buttocks. Now you won't necessarily be able to get the heel all the way in. You might be able to reach that ankle with the right hand. You might be more comfortable reaching for the hem of your leggings. When you reach for the ankle, chances are you'll start to pull the heel out. You might roll over to the right hip. So just take a moment to adjust. Feel that you're equally weighted through the thighs. Push into the left forearm. Inhale to press into the thighs, lifting the chest, teasing that heel a little closer towards the buttocks. Then on an out breath, release. Bring that foot to the floor. Slide the right arm forward and draw the left heel in. So take a moment again to realign. If you're twisted in this posture, you'll just put tension into the lower back. So make sure your hips are square. You might feel tighter on the left thigh. Almost tilting the hips towards the floor, pressing into the thigh, inhaling to lift the chest. It looks like such a small action. You can all feel just how intense this stretch is. On the out breath, release. Bring that leg to the floor. Reposition the hands either side of the chest. So the elbows are now lifted and we're drawing the elbows in, almost always tucking the elbows underneath the rib cage, pushing into the palms of the hands and lifting from the thighs so the thighs remain connected to the floor. Then as you exhale, soften the elbows, guide the weight of the upper body back to the floor. You might need to bring your forehead to the floor to keep your balance as you bring both heels in. So we're going to reach for both ankles or the hem of the leggings. First trick is to make sure that you haven't pulled the feet apart. So reposition the heels over the sit bones, push into the thighs, inhale to lift the chest, create almost that bow shape. So you can visualize that you're opening the sternum, lifting the thighs. Then as you exhale, release. Bring the feet back to the floor. Reposition the hands either side of the chest, draw the elbows in. Push into the palms, lift yourself up as the first action. Second action, push the sit bones back towards the heels and rest in child's pose. We've done a lot of opening out through the side of the rib cage. So if you want to give yourself a break from that particular stretch, you can always bring the hands either side of the ankles, allowing the weight of the forehead to release to the floor. Again, they'll all make a different shape. So do what's right for you. Take a moment in this released forward position to roll through the forehead. You might want to bring the left ear parallel to the floor. Roll through the forehead. Bring the right ear parallel to the floor. Working very slowly to gently roll the head from one side to the other, to just release the back of the neck. Now bring the hands back, either side of the head. Lift yourself back up into an all fours position. Knees again hip width distance apart, elbows soft, sliding the right foot back, turning the toe under. So our intention here is to press the heel towards the floor, encouraging a gentle stretch, a gentle opening through the back of the calf. We haven't done any work really in the lower legs tonight, so you're going to feel it. And bring that knee back in. Take the opposite foot back. And again, you don't particularly want to be rolling onto the supporting knee. So reset the weight equally between the hips and the shoulders, pressing the heel to the floor. This is an area where in Chinese medicine, there's a lot of, they kind of recognise that this is where we hold hormonal energy. So if you suffer from particularly heavy periods, or if you are menopausal, this is an area, if you went for a Chinese medicine massage, they would spend a lot of time around the ankle and into the calf muscle. I'm always reminded of that when I stretch it because I think, golly, it's tight. Bring that knee back in. And let's again go for that, taking a little bit of space in the hips. So take the knees wide. So in much the same way as we did when we were supine, we're bringing the feet a little closer together. Easy action first. Bring the elbows under the shoulders so the forearms are resting to the floor. Then push the sit bones back and just sit back into this space. You kind of feel like a frog in this posture. You can get the forehead to the floor. That might be a nice release for the back of the neck. We're just hanging out here. There's no effort. Then we're going to press again into the forearms. This time we want to lift the elbows up from the floor, and we want to take the hands a little further forward. So I like to widen my hands, taking them again to the edge of the mat. Now we're easing the ears between the upper arms, pushing the sit bones back. So we just feel this as a more active stretch. previous version was much more about releasing. This feels quite active, particularly through the upper arms, a little bit of stabilisation in the shoulders. Again, that release, that opening, that stretching to the side of the rib cage. Then return again to the all fours position, resetting wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Turning both toes under, exhaling to draw the tummy button in, rolling up through the spine. Reversing that curve, resting on the tops of the feet, tracking the sternum forward. Be kind to the neck if it doesn't feel right for you to look up, then just look ahead. Exhale again. Start from the belly rather than the upper back. So you can feel that transition as you roll the spine. Lifting through the hips, tucking the tailbone under, nodding the chin to the chest. And returning back again to centre. Let's take a moment to sit back onto the heels. I'm not going to leave you in hero. We haven't done enough on the knees tonight to allow for that. And I'm just going to ask you to come into a seated position. Lovely. So we've done quite a lot of hips in previous weeks, so I'm not going to force the hips tonight because I feel like we've been quite gentle with the spine. So let's come into a Dandasana pose. In fact, I'll stay side on just so that you can see the shape. So with the Dandasana, we're extending through the legs. We're kind of creating a right angled shape, but obviously the spine is a natural S, so it's very difficult to get a straight line through the spine. So instead, visualize that you're bringing the back of the head to line up with the tailbone. Imagine that you have a flat surface between the shoulders, and as you lean into that flat surface, it encourages the rib cage to lift, the sternum to lift, and an opening through the collarbones. We're pressing through the backs of the legs, opening through the soles of the feet. So although this feels quite relaxed to begin with, it becomes very active. Let's lift the arms up to shoulder height, pressing the fingertips forward, but we don't want to be reaching in such a way that we close the collarbones in. So work with the breath again to widen through the chest, engage the core, push the sit bones to the floor, extend through the back of legs, push through the heels. So we're working the muscles of the thighs, opening into the hamstrings. There's a little bit of core engagement here just to help stabilisation. If you can feel a few tummy flips going on, you're doing it right. If you've lost the will to smile, you're probably doing it right. Then inhale to lift both arms overhead. Keep the ears comfortably between the upper arms. And notice that we don't want the shoulders to lift, we keep them all released down. Pressing through the fingertips, drawing the shoulders back, pushing through the heels, spreading the backs of the legs along the mat. Keeping that core engagement, drawing the tummy button in, reminding yourself about the sternum lifted, the rib cage off the belly. Then as you exhale, bring the hands together in an Anjali Mudra. Let's bring the hands into an interlock. Keep that strength in the thighs as you turn the hands inside out, pushing through the palms of the hands. Again, the ears between the upper arms. Lifting the kneecaps towards the hips. Feel that strength, that heat in the thighs, that spreading under the hamstrings. Keep the control, that stabilisation as you exhale, to bring that interlock to chest level. Inhale to widen through the chest. Exhale, engage the core, reset. Separate the hands, bring the hands to an interlock behind the lower back. Engage the core, press through the heels, push into the backs of the thighs. On the out breath, lift the arms up. We're aiming to get the hands up as high as the bra strap, without leaning forward. So keep that lovely line from the back of the head to the tailbone. Then as everyone else's legs jiggling like you've got jumping beans in them. Good. Not just knee then. Then when you're ready, release the hands. Bring the hands either side of the hips. Soften the thighs. They wouldn't want to straight away. They'll be like, no, I'm in fight or flight. I'm staying here. Give the legs a wee shake. Shuffle your bottom forward. Roll back onto your back and hug the knees again towards the chest. Beautiful. I'm going to do a little figure of 8. If you want, you can just rock from side to side, do whatever feels right for you. Then bring yourself back to center. So we started laying on our backs. We're going to finish laying on our backs. I'm going to suggest, particularly for those of you who started with the knees bent, just feel the difference now when you extend the legs. Notice where we've created space. So we've spent quite a lot of time opening and releasing through the back of the sacrum. There was a little bit of time where we opened and softened into the hip flexors. And through all of this time, we've been releasing through the side of the rib cage all the way to the waist. Particularly because we ended on such an active heating posture, chances are you will be incredibly grateful to be told to just lie down and become heavy. Make any adjustments you need so that you feel fully supported, either widening the legs or returning to that bent knee position if that supports you best. Bringing your awareness again to the breath. Because we did that very active and heating posture at the end there, you might have noticed that the pace of your breath has become a little more brisk. So rather than that shallow breath, again, take your time to slow the breath down, to deepen the inhalation. Lengthen the exhalation. With every breath, start to feel yourself expand and widen into that protective layer that surrounds you. With every inhalation, you're drawing in positive energy. You're filling that protective layer around you with positive energy, with light. With every exhalation, you're ridding your body of anything that you're carrying that doesn't belong to you. You're releasing any negative energy. Releasing any sense of overwhelm. Releasing any sense of frustration. Inhaling for positive, calm energy. Exhaling to let anything holding you back go. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling fully. Take a deep breath in through the nose. A slightly noisier breath out through the mouth. Further deep breath in through the nose. Then release with a sigh. One further full deep breath in. Exhaling now, making any sound you like. That sound represents everything holding you back, leaving. Allow your breath to return to a natural, easy rhythm. Bringing your awareness back again to the physical body, to your space within this room. Feeling the weight of your body against the floor, the heat of your body as it meets the cool air that surrounds you. Returning sensation now by wiggling fingers and toes, wriggling the jaw and the nose. Your choice whether you want to take a long stretch, whether you prefer to hug the knees to the chest. In your own time, making your way onto your side, then returning once more to a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to an Anjali Mudra. Touch to the head for kind thoughts, to the lips for kind words, and to the heart for kind intentions. The light in me honours the light in you. Namaste. Just heard the cat cry outside the door. End the recording.